Gentlemen, in this video, I want to talk to you and ask you and talk about when did you realize as you were aging that you needed to pay attention to your health? You knew you were going to be in a lot of trouble if you didn't. I'll tell you, that happened to me first when I was 47, and it happened to me again when I was 55. And both those two times that it happened to me was in a very negative way. It happened to me, the most important time, I'd have to say, was about a year and a half ago. And that was in a very positive way because that's when I really started I started working out, which is something I've never done. And I mean going to the gym. Though you don't have to go to the gym. The point of this video is to talk about when you realize you're in trouble. And this was me for the first time. I was just in my mid 40s. And I'd gone through a lot of stress in my life. My 20s and 30s, man, they were not that stable. And by the time I was in my early 40s, I think I was just your typical guy where I basically wasn't exercising. I was working hard. And when you're done working at the end of the day, you're with your colleagues, you're with your company, and then you're drinking, you're eating, and you're drinking, and then you're not working out. Now, I'd quit smoking, which was good. I smoked from when I was like age 20 to 25. Maybe I quit a bit, then I kept smoking. And I quit smoking at 35. 100%. That was extremely important. But frankly, all my adult life as a guy, I never felt I had a lot of energy. Like I'd be working, doing gigs. Like in the evening time, I was with a travel company in Newport Beach, California. I was the guy up on stage pitching a program in front of a hotel ballroom of 500 to 1,000 people several nights a week. I was having a great time. But then afterwards, I was done. It was 9 o'clock, and I was like, can we go home now? And all the other people around me still had energy, still wanted to network, still wanted to talk and, go out and drink and go out and eat the late dinner. Me, I really was like, okay, I'm done. I felt tired. I just wanted to get home and go to bed. My legs felt heavy. So all my life as an adult, I never felt that strong. Okay. But I never went to the gym. On and off, I did a little bit of running, but I never really did any gym work. And I never, even at home, did push-ups and sit-ups. Just nothing. I just didn't do it. Well, I moved to China when I was 39 years old, and life continued. It was great. I was a member of the American Chamber of Commerce doing corporate training work. Oh, great. But again, I always was like, after these evening American Chamber social events, networking events, whatever they were, I just wanted to go home. I was tired, And by the time I hit 47, I was to the point where I was like every day. And I finally looked in the mirror and I was like every day, I was like, man, if I feel this crummy now, I'm not going to make it to maybe even 60. That's what I said to myself looking in the mirror. And I was like, I'm serious. I do not feel good every single day. And there was nothing specifically wrong with me other than the stresses of life and lifestyle, which was a bit too indulgent. No severe drinking problems or anything like that, but still too much, drinking and eating out related to work and not exercising and then feeling like crap the next day, getting out of bed. And by the time I was 47, I knew I was in trouble. At that point, I went through a 2.5, 3-year period till age 51. My son was born in 51. Up to that time, then we were living in a place called Century Park in Shanghai, China. And remembered, I'd moved here overseas to China back in 1999 when I was 39 years old. So I'd been in China now for 10 plus years. Again, American Chamber of Commerce, living in Shanghai. Met my wife, we got married, everything's great. But I was realizing, okay, exercise time. So I started doing the 5 kilometer loop around Century Park in Pudong in Shanghai. That's where we were living. Our lovely boy was newborn, from age newborn right on through to 2 years old. Lovely, beautiful, beautiful time. And during that 2 years, I was consistently running 5Ks, and I was running them well under 30 minutes. And that was what I was doing. I was in great shape, cardiovascular wise, but I was still not doing any muscle work. Still wasn't doing push-ups, sit-ups. I wasn't going to the gym, weights, nothing. Okay, just running. And hey, good for you if that's what you're doing. But what I'm telling you, the key point of older men's health is building our muscles. All right. Now, I didn't figure that out until a year and a half ago. And it's made an enormous, extraordinary difference. This is what I want you to understand. Now, when I was 51, 2 years after that, my son was growing up, and I started writing my first book about China. At the same time, I was like in author mode, and I imagined myself while I'm writing. It was a deep project for 6 months to be an author, write my first book, deep writing, deep thinking. I started smoking. I was like, oh, I wanted to smoke. I always want to smoke. I still want to smoke. Okay. And it's one of the lustful indulgences that you crave. If you crave it, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I thought I could smoke just one in the morning, just one in the afternoon, just one in the evening, and thinking that's okay. And of course, no. Over 6 months, it became up to half a pack, and I held it at half a pack a day. I never went over half a pack a day. You'd say, wow, that's pretty good. That's not bad. Bullshit. Over the course of the next 2 years, into age 55, I started having chest pains, severe problems, feeling like crap, and chronic irritation, coughing. It was a disaster. So by the time I was 55, I was feeling stress, having trouble breathing, nothing specific beyond just bad symptoms of bad health. Okay. I went and got a couple of CT scans of the heart, this and that. Now, the CT gave me a wrong diagnosis. It said, you've got a calcium deposit on your LAD artery, which is dangerous. And it wasn't that big, but they said you had one. Now, remember from my other article, 2 years later, I had an angiogram, which is where they stick the wire up your arm, go all the way in, and look directly at your heart, at your arteries. And he came out right away and said, no, man, the cardiologist was amazing. He came out and said, no, you don't have that block. The CT scan was not accurate, and it's less than 5%. It's tiny. There's no blockages in your arteries. They're fine. So that I got that worry off my chest, but I still felt like crap. And that's what I'm telling you. I still felt weak. I still didn't feel strong. And I want to feel strong for my wife, and I want to feel strong for my son. You get my point, you see. And I'm also quite a bit older than them, as you understand. I'm 65, guys. Okay. So there I was at 55, and I was like, okay, I'm not feeling well. No, I don't have blockages in my arteries. Thank you, God, for that. Okay. But I still don't feel well, you see. I still feel weak. So I have to start eating right. And I did. And I did, and I did. But I'm telling you, from 55 to 60, 61, 62, 63, 64 years old, too, a year and a half ago, I still didn't do the right things enough. I did better than back when I was 47. I did more. I paid attention, but I still wasn't doing the one thing that transformed how I feel mentally and physically, my brain, including, and my body. And that is when I started doing intense muscle work. Okay. And that's what I started doing a year and a half ago. And my goal is not to be a YouTube guy. There's guys on YouTube who are a lot more big and buff than me, but come on, guys, I'm 65 years old. I'm proud of how I look. I'm happy to show you. Okay. I only started about a year ago in the gym consistently to build muscle weight. Be a badass man for me. You see, to my degree, not compared to anybody else. I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. You see, I just want to be feeling good and strong for me. And my wife looking at me going, wow, honey, man, you really look good. You think that doesn't matter in a marriage? You bet it does. It's wonderful. So I feel good about me. If I stay on the path of the working out that I'm doing, which is 2 to 3 times a week, pumping heavy, upper body in the gym, and then on the off day, on the bike, cycling, pumping the legs. That's my leg work. I hate squats. I've told you that before. I don't want to do leg work in the gym. And also, I'm doing intermittent sets of sprints on the off days, which is fantastic. I started, okay, with my off day sprints. Guys, you can start doing these. Take it easy. You've got to be in intermediate level shape to be doing what I'm talking about now. So if you're not there yet, don't. Okay, you'll just probably injure yourself. All right. I jump on the bike and I warm up. I go down to the riverside, which is 5-6 minutes from here. Okay, I get off the bike. Okay, and I do what I'd have to call 100-meter sprints. Now, I don't know if they're 100 meters. I do them by count of my steps. I started with 100 strides, 100 steps. The first 2 sprints that I do are at about a nice, strong 50% pace to warm up. I remember this from my track coach in high school. He'd have us doing 8 sets of sprints around the 440-yard track. He tortured us, okay? So the first 2 are warming up. So boom, I'm doing a 100-yard sprint at about a 50% pace, warming up the body more. I already am a bit warmed up because I was on the bike and do a little bit of stretching. Okay, it's about I started, say 3 months ago, at about 100 strides, and then I'd stop, and you're out of breath, and I'd walk it back, and the walk back was the recovery time, and I'm within 30 more seconds of walking it back, and then I do the next one, second set. And then the second sprint also, depending on how I feel, about 50%, 60% at the most. Then I definitely felt warmed up. You feel warmed up, your blood's really flowing and you're going, and you're doing the third, walk it back, third sprint. And that third sprint, now I'm sprinting, I'm really hauling ass. Okay, not 100%. Hell no, you're not racing and you don't want to get hurt. And I'm noticing how my ankles and knees and hips and back feel. I'm self-assessing. How's my body? I'm 65 years old. If I injure myself, I'm screwed. Takes forever to recover. How's my body feeling? Especially because I get some knee pain on the inside on the left. Okay, and I'm noticing as I'm like, is this working for my body? It is. And I'm at about, like, say, 75% sprint. I'm at a strong sprint, but not full blast. Okay, and I do that set, walk it back, and by the time, and I'm done at the end of that 100-yarder, man, I'm just like, you are fully out of breath. Okay, and then you're walking it back, and I'm doing the final fourth. So, guys, that's what I'm doing now on my off days. Well, again, you get the story here. All right, I'm going to the gym today, and again, it's going to be for me now, because I got this shoulder injury. I can't push up. I'm pushing up and it hurts. I did a little bit of a rotator cuff strain. I don't know what it is, but I can do dips. Okay, and dips are great. So right now I'm working on my rows, upper body dips, and then I'm on the machine, the assisted upper body dips, and also upper body pull-ups, chin-ups. Those are the 3 exercises that are the main exercises I'm going to go to the gym and do. Again, upper body, boom, bam. Okay. This was my journey. This is where I'm at right now. I'm imagining what am I going to look like and how am I going to feel and how's my body going to look a year from now? Wow. All right. Subscribe to Older Men's Health. Write in with your comments. I'm going to keep every video under 15 minutes. Thanks very much, guys. See you next time.